Hello, great people. Popular pastor Apostle Johnson Suleman has heavily criticized the government of Bola Tinubu, and he has also taken a swipe at Nigerians, saying that Nigerians deserve the hardship, the pain, the hunger, the starvation that they are going through under the government of Bola Tinubu. Apostle Johnson Suleman queried Nigerians thinking that why did they allow the president to emerge as president when he had no clear manifesto? That what do Nigerians expect if you elect a president that has no clear manifesto, that he just tried to be president for his own gain? Then you should be expecting nothing other than hardship, sorrow, and also to languish in anguish. We will be dissecting this assertion of Apostle Johnson Suleman. To what extent is it true? To what extent is it the reality? What is the connection between politics and pulpit? We'll be doing that, and also we'll be looking at, does Tinubu had a manifesto when he was contesting for the presidency? We'll be doing this and a whole lot more on this episode with your short plug on politics and happenings in the polity, Dr. Omoshola. First, let us look at the statement of Apostle Johnson Suleman. Then when we read it, then we will not dissect the issues associated to it now. Apostle Johnson Suleman said, and I read, said, what Nigerians are going through is partly what they deserve. And if I can take a moment, I need you to listen to this well, because my analysis after reading this will be based on this that I'm reading. So if you don't listen, you may not be able to flow along with me. Now I read, according to Apostle Johnson Suleman, I said, what Nigerians are going through is partly what they deserve. Before the election, we cried out, we screamed, we yelled. The man, President Bola Tinubu, who came into leadership, had no manifesto, just a sense of entitlement, which is "it is my turn" mantra. The oil sector has been plundered. In the next 10 to 15 years, I don't think Nigerians will recover from the damage. Now, all we can do is pray. Nigerians should reflect on their voting decisions ahead of the 2027 elections. If they've suffered enough, by then, perhaps they will make better decisions. End of quote. Now, according to what I just read, the first is that Pastor Apostle Johnson Suleman, from this statement, agreed that in the 2023 presidential election, it wasn't on the side of Bola Tinubu. That is clear. That means that he supported other candidates, or he was just apolitical, which is within his right. We can't query that. It is within his right to support whoever candidates that he deems fit. Now, let us go to the next. He said that President Bola Tinubu, that he has no manifesto. Is that the truth? Does Bola Tinubu have no manifesto during the election? But before I go into that, I need to touch on something, which is that if you look at the statement of Apostle Johnson Suleman and the assertion of Pastor Adeboye, they are quite contradictory. Both of them oppose each other in the sense that Pastor Adeboye has said that dollars should have ordinarily be exchanging at 10,000 naira for a dollar, if not for prayer. Now, Apostle Johnson Suleman, who is also of the same religion, a pastor like Adeboye, is criticizing the government of Bola Tinubu and calling it a failure. So if you look at it, is it that both men of God, is it that on politics, they are being led by the body and not the spirit? Because if they are being led by the spirit and they are serving the same God, they are servant of the same God, is it that the spirit is saying A to this one and the spirit is saying B to this one? And I look forward to your perspective in the comment section. Who do you think is right based on your own reality of what you are experiencing, or what your family is experiencing in Nigeria since President Bola Tinubu took over the helm of affairs of the country? So when I first got wind of the story, what first occurred to me is these people not serving the same God? Because Adebo is saying A, Apostle Johnson Suleman is saying Z. So is it that they are on politics matters, they are being led by the body and not the spirit? Now let us go to the substance of Apostle Johnson Suleman's argument that Tinubu had no manifesto. Sincerely, Tinubu had a manifesto. In all fairness to him, he had a manifesto during the 2023 presidential election, the Renew Hope agenda. There is a document whereby Tinubu tried to state what he intends to do in that renewed hope agenda document, and that is his manifesto. So it will be wrong to say Tinubu did not have a manifesto. Be that as it may, the manifesto was vague, unclear, and insufficiently publicized. So, again, the manifesto was vague, unclear, and insufficiently publicized. So, for you to say that perhaps because it is vague, unclear, and insufficiently publicized, then you now summarily says it doesn't have a manifesto. No, that would be wrong. That would be unfair to Bola Ahmed Tinubu. He had a manifesto. It's just that the manifesto was very vague, very unclear, and insufficiently publicized. And the manifesto itself, the reason why it was unclear and it was vague was because they know that the people that they are going to sell the manifesto to, that they should vote for Bola Ahmed Tinubu, many of them will not even scrutinize the document. So, apart from being vague and unclear and insufficiently publicized, the manifesto itself suffered low public scrutiny because people were not interested in the manifesto. Even if you watch the rallies during the presidential election, I watched so many rallies. People were just dancing and screaming, "Oh, vote for APC, Jagaban, Jagaban." That's what people were interested in. So the level of education, the level of capacity to probe, the level of accountability being demanded by the people is on the low. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is somebody that wasn't interested in debate. Nigerians do not go all out to hold him to account that no, you must attend that debate. Tell us what you want to do for the country, how you want to do. So the Nigerian citizens themselves, there's a way they kind of like encourage and embolden this mediocrity on the part of candidates who eventually win election. And one thing about the manifesto of Bola Ahmed Tinubu was that he didn't answer the how question. He just stated what he wants to do. How do you intend to achieve it? How do you intend to do it? That wasn't stated. And that's one of the reasons why I said it is vague and unclear, because it is easy to make promises. But the truth is, how do you bring down those promises into reality? Now, Apostle Johnson Suleman said that there is hardship, that Nigerians deserve the hardship that they are going through. The question is there hardship in the land? Of course, there is monumental hardship, because if you look at it, if you look at the statistics, before Bola Ahmed Tinubu became president, petrol was less than 200 naira. Now it's selling for about 1,000 naira. The price of the dollar to naira was about 600 naira, less than 600 naira. Now it's about 1,600. So look at the price of bread, the price of milk, the price of goods and services. They have tripled, not even doubled. They have tripled or quadrupled. So that itself, why for many people their income remains the same. So if you look at it very well, you see that there's hardship. So is Apostle Johnson Suleman right about the hardship thing? Yes, of course. It's absolutely right. It is audible to the deaf and visible to the blind, like the biblical handwriting on the wall in Daniel 5:25. Mene, mene, teke, opasin. It is very crystal clear that there is monumental hardship in the land, and Nigerians are, of course, going through a lot. But be that as it may, I don't agree that pastors should be mocking Nigerians. Let's assume, but not concede, that Nigerians made a mistake. I think the role of Apostle Johnson Suleman as a pastor is to sell hope. That is what pastors do, to sell hope, to encourage the people, not to mock them. What Apostle Johnson Suleman is doing is to mock Nigerians. So even if Nigerians have made a mistake, when Jesus was alive and people made mistakes, Jesus did not mock them. Jesus correct them, he drew them closer, he orientates them, he counsel them, he pacified them. So pastors are to sell hope, are to pacify, not to mock people. So Nigerians are going through pain, hardship, hunger, starvation, and all you can do as a pastor is to still mock them for their actions. You failing to realize that our electoral process is already flawed, and sometimes Nigerians will vote. They don't even have say on their vote. You know, you didn't consider that and you choose to mock them. I think that is to some extent unpastoral. And he says that Nigerians should reflect their voting decision in 2027. Well, I can tell you for free that from what I've seen, that may not likely be the case, because when there's hunger and hardship and starvation in the land, your weakness is weak. Your power to make rational decision is weak. So the probability that Nigeria won't make the same mistake in 2027 is less, because when it's close to the election, politicians knows how to release the type of goodies. And Nigerians have a bit of, apologies to Nigerians, a bit of short memory. When the government decide to release some biscuits to the people, they would end up voting them again. And I'll give you the example of some time ago. Things weren't even as hard as this of my mechanic. My mechanic then, when I met him, he said that, oh, there's too much hardship, that the price of spare part and everything, that this Tinubu administration, nobody understands it. I was looking at him. Then after a while, I just asked him that, okay, in 2027, that if they are sharing rice, if they are sharing Maggi and they are sharing like maybe 10,000 naira, if they bring it to you, will you accept it? My mechanic body said yes, that why won't he accept it? Then I told him that, well, you are one of the cause of this thing because you have made politics transactional. If you make politics transactional, you should expect that the person that gave you that thing is investing, and every investor is investing because they want to make profit. So if you make the attaining political office, if you make it easy for political office seekers at the national, state, and federal level, then you begin to have a say, and it will help them to perform adequately well. So with the level of hardship in the land, how much do the presidency, the state governors, the ministers, the honorables, how much do they want to use to buy votes in their various localities? So if you look at it, the probability that Nigerians will make the same mistake is very high. And even if Nigerians don't want to sell their vote, the probability that during the 2027 election that they will wake up all these silly ethnic religious sentiments is very high. That is what will eventually happen. And before you know it, because ethnicity is something that is very important to you, that is your background, that is your ancestry. Many people will want to buy into it, then they will use religion, then they will back it up with money, just as we have always witnessed in most rounds of election in Nigeria, successive election at that. But is Apostle Johnson Suleman right that about hardship in the land? Yes, I agree that he's absolutely right. Is there hardship in the land? Of course, there's hardship in Nigeria. But then, should he mock Nigerians? No, that is on pastoral. But then I expect government to see this as a wake-up call to know that, yes, they are voice of reasoning, and Apostle Johnson Suleman is one of the voice of reasoning. So if Pastor Adeboye is saying A and Apostle Suleman is saying Z, why not compare the A and the Z, look at the reality in both statements, and act accordingly to the benefit of Nigerians? It's been an interesting time with you on this episode of Politing with Dr. Omoshola Deji. Dr. Deji is a political scientist with a PhD in political science. Do well to subscribe, turn on your notification button, catch up with my past videos, and of course, I have great, interesting videos coming your way. Catch up with me on Facebook and on TikTok till I see you again. Always remember that I love you all sincerely.